Everyone is obsessed with goals, success, money, results. The world keeps telling you to chase more, achieve more, reach higher, and so you run day after day, setting targets, making plans, pushing harder, yet something feels off. Progress feels slow, motivation fades. And deep inside, there is a quiet question that never really leaves. Why does it still feel like you are stuck? Here is the truth most people never talk about. Goals alone do not change your life. That sounds strange because goals are supposed to be the answer. Every book, every video, every success story talks about setting clear goals. But there is a hidden layer beneath all of this. A layer that decides whether you win or lose long before results show up. Most people are chasing outcomes. Very few are building the person who can actually achieve them. This is where the real difference begins. In this video, you are going to learn why focusing only on goals can quietly hold you back. You will understand the powerful shift between chasing results and building growth. You will discover how small daily changes shape your identity and how that identity controls everything you achieve. There is a pattern behind every successful person, and it has less to do with what they want and more to do with who they become. There is also something else, a hidden trap that keeps people working hard but moving in circles. It creates pressure, comparison, and frustration. Many never realize it, and they keep repeating the same cycle for years. Once you see it, everything starts to make sense. This is why you need to stay until the end of this video, because the final idea will change how you look at success completely. It will shift your focus from chasing temporary wins to building something that lasts, something that stays with you no matter what goal you set next. So if you are tired of starting over, if you want real progress that actually feels different, this video is for you. Welcome to our channel. If you are serious about improving your life and becoming stronger every single day, make sure you subscribe and stay connected with us. Goals give direction. They give you something to look at, something to aim for, something that makes you feel like you are moving forward. That is why people love setting goals. It feels productive. It feels like progress has already started. But there is a quiet problem hiding underneath all of this. Goals can tell you where to go, but they do not change who you are while you are getting there. A person can write down 10 goals, even 100 goals, and still wake up every day with the same habits, the same thinking patterns, the same reactions. The outside target changes, but the inside stays the same. And when the inside does not evolve, the results stay limited. This is where frustration begins to grow. Effort increases, but outcomes stay almost identical. This is why so many people feel like they are trying again and again without real progress. They set a goal, they push for a while, they lose momentum, and then they start over. It looks like a cycle, but it is actually a reflection. The same habits produce the same actions. The same actions create the same results. Nothing truly shifts because the person behind the goals has not changed. There is also a deeper layer that most people never pay attention to. Goals create pressure. They make everything feel urgent. They turn the journey into a race. And when results do not come fast enough, doubt starts to build. People begin to question themselves, even though the real issue is not their effort, it is their foundation. Jim Rohn once said that success is something you attract, not something you chase. That idea sounds simple, but it carries weight. Attraction comes from who you are, not just what you want. If the habits are weak, if the mindset is scattered, if discipline is missing, then even the best goals will struggle to become real. So people keep chasing more goals, more plans, more motivation, yet the core remains unchanged, quietly controlling everything behind the scenes. Goals are always tied to the future. They live somewhere ahead, in a place you have not reached yet. They tell you that something better is waiting for you later after you achieve a certain result. That idea feels exciting at first. It gives you hope. It gives you something to chase. But over time, it also creates a quiet distance between where you are and where you think you should be. Growth works in a completely different way. It does not wait for the future. It exists in the present moment. It shows up in small actions, in daily effort, in the way you think and respond right now. While goals push your attention forward, growth brings your focus back to today. It asks you to improve even in the smallest ways without needing immediate proof. When someone is driven only by goals, there is often a hidden message running in the background. It says that happiness will come later after everything is achieved. It turns success into a condition. Until that condition is met, satisfaction feels incomplete. This creates pressure. It makes every delay feel like failure. It turns time into something stressful rather than something useful. Growth carries a different message. It says that improvement is already happening. It builds a sense of movement even when results are not visible yet. A person who focuses on growth starts to value the process. They begin to notice small wins, small changes, small progress that would normally go unnoticed. That awareness creates a different kind of energy. It feels steady instead of rushed. Pressure and progress may look similar from the outside, but they feel completely different on the inside. Pressure drains focus. It creates tension. It makes mistakes feel heavier than they should be. Progress, on the other hand, builds momentum. It creates confidence slowly. It allows space for learning without constant self-judgment. Most people stay locked into the future without realizing it. They keep waiting for a moment that proves everything has worked. Meanwhile, growth is happening in quiet ways, often ignored. The real shift begins when attention moves away from distant outcomes and settles into daily improvement, where change actually begins to take shape. When the focus stays only on goals, something subtle begins to change in the way a person moves through life. There is a constant sense of urgency that starts to build. Every day begins to feel like a race against time. The mind keeps looking ahead, measuring distance, calculating how far is left to go. That pressure does not always appear clearly at first, but it slowly grows stronger in the background. Rushing becomes a habit. There is less patience for the process and more desire for quick results. Small steps begin to feel too slow. Effort feels heavier because it is always tied to an outcome that has not arrived yet. This creates a kind of tension that stays present even during progress. Instead of feeling calm and focused, the mind stays restless. Comparison also starts to creep in. Seeing others move faster or achieve sooner creates a silent discomfort. It becomes easy to feel like everyone else is ahead. The journey turns into a scoreboard even when it was never meant to be one. This comparison pulls attention away from personal growth and places it on external results. That shift weakens focus and makes every step feel less meaningful. With time, this leads to a deeper feeling of being behind. Even when progress is happening, it does not feel like enough. There is always a gap between where you are and where you think you should be. That gap creates frustration. It makes effort feel unrewarding. It slowly drains motivation without any clear reason. At the same time, growth is unfolding in a very different way. It moves slowly, often without being noticed. It does not demand attention. It builds quietly, step by step, through repeated actions and small improvements. In the early stages, there is very little visible change. No clear signs, no immediate rewards, nothing that proves progress is happening. Because of this, it becomes easy to doubt the process. It feels like nothing is changing, even though something is shifting beneath the surface. Many people reach this point and decide to stop. They walk away because the results they expected have not appeared yet. The quiet nature of growth makes it easy to overlook, and the noise created by goals makes it harder to stay patient. There comes a point where the focus begins to shift in a different direction. Instead of constantly asking what needs to be achieved, attention slowly turns inward. The question changes, it moves away from outcomes and starts to center on identity. It becomes less about reaching something outside and more about shaping something within. When the question becomes, who do I need to become, everything starts to feel different. Actions begin to carry more meaning because they are no longer just steps toward a distant goal. They become reflections of the kind of person being built day by day. This subtle shift changes the way effort is experienced. It no longer feels like a task that must be completed, but something that naturally aligns with who you are becoming. Results tend to follow patterns, and those patterns are deeply connected to identity. A person who develops discipline begins to act in ways that make progress inevitable. There is less resistance in doing the work because it becomes part of their nature. The same applies to focus. When focus becomes a part of identity, distractions lose their power. decisions become clearer, and actions become more consistent. This is where real change starts to take shape. It does not come from sudden bursts of motivation or temporary effort. It grows from steady internal shifts that influence behavior over time. These changes may seem small at first, but they begin to reshape daily routines, reactions, and choices. Over time, those small adjustments build a completely different version of a person. There is also a deeper layer to this process that often goes unnoticed. Identity influences perception. It shapes how situations are interpreted and how challenges are approached. When identity begins to evolve, the way obstacles are handled also changes. Instead of reacting with doubt or hesitation, there is a stronger sense of control and clarity. Jim Rohn often speaks about this connection between identity and reality. The idea that changing the way you see yourself can influence the direction of your life. It is a quiet transformation that happens beneath the surface, where thoughts, habits, and beliefs begin to align with a new version of self. That alignment creates a different path, one that feels more stable and grounded in consistent growth. The real shift begins to show in the way daily actions are approached. Instead of chasing big changes all at once, attention moves towards small improvements that can be repeated every single day. These small steps may seem simple, almost too small to matter at first, yet they carry a quiet power that builds over time. Improving by a small percentage each day does not create immediate results, but it creates movement. That movement builds consistency, and consistency begins to shape identity. A few minutes of reading each day slowly expands understanding. It introduces new ideas, new perspectives, and new ways of thinking that begin to influence decisions in subtle ways. Learning a skill follows a similar pattern. Progress feels slow in the beginning, almost invisible. There are moments of confusion, moments where improvement feels distant. Still, each attempt adds something. Each repetition strengthens ability. Over time, what once felt difficult starts to feel natural, and confidence begins to grow without needing validation. Habits play a central role in this process. They operate quietly in the background, guiding behavior without constant effort. When habits are controlled with intention, daily actions become more structured. There is less reliance on motivation and more reliance on routine. This creates stability, allowing progress to continue even on days when energy feels low. Consistency becomes the thread that connects everything together. It does not require perfection, but it requires presence. Showing up regularly, even in small ways, creates a rhythm that strengthens over time. That rhythm reduces hesitation and makes action feel more automatic. The desire for fast results often pulls attention away from this process. There is a natural tendency to look for quick outcomes, something that proves effort is working. However, that focus can interrupt steady growth. It shifts attention away from building and places it back on chasing. Strong foundations develop through repetition and patience. They are built layer by layer without shortcuts. Each small action adds to a structure that becomes more stable with time, shaping a path that feels steady and grounded in continuous progress. At the beginning, everything feels quiet. A single day passes and there is no visible difference. The effort is there, the intention is there, but nothing on the surface seems to reflect it. It feels like time is moving forward while everything else stays the same. This is the phase where doubt slowly begins to appear because the mind expects something to change quickly. A week goes by and the feeling remains almost identical. The actions are repeated, the routine continues, yet the results still seem distant. It becomes easy to question whether the effort is leading anywhere. The lack of visible progress creates a sense of stillness, even though movement is happening underneath. This is where many people start to lose patience. The process feels slow, almost too slow to trust. What is often missed during this time is how growth actually works. It does not reveal itself immediately. It builds layer by layer, quietly stacking small changes that are too subtle to notice in isolation. Each day adds something, even when it does not feel significant. These small additions begin to connect over time, forming a foundation that slowly becomes stronger. Then time continues to pass and something begins to shift. It is not sudden in the way it feels at the moment, but when looking back, the difference becomes clear. A year later, the change feels undeniable. The way of thinking is different, the habits are stronger, the reactions are more controlled. What once required effort now feels natural. This is where the idea of compounding begins to show its effect. Small improvements do not stay small when they are repeated consistently. They multiply. They build on top of each other, creating a level of progress that seems disproportionate to the effort that started it. The early stages feel slow because the results are still forming. Later stages feel faster because everything begins to connect. The shift from slow to noticeable happens quietly without a clear moment that signals it. It moves from invisible progress to visible change, creating a transition that feels almost sudden, even though it has been building all along. So do not just chase goals. They may give you direction for a moment, but they are always changing. One goal leads to another and then another, and it never really ends. There is always something more to reach, something more to achieve, something that keeps pulling your attention forward. Growth feels different. It stays with you. It becomes part of who you are. It shapes the way you think, the way you act, and the way you respond to everything around you. It does not disappear after one achievement. It continues to build, quietly strengthening you over time. When the focus shifts toward growth, there is less pressure to prove something quickly. There is more attention on becoming better step by step. Each small improvement adds something real, something that cannot be taken away. Over time, those small changes create a version of you that no longer needs to chase results, because results begin to follow naturally. In the end, the difference becomes clear. You do not get what you want just because you want it. You get what you are prepared for. You get what your habits support. You get what your identity allows. Every repeated action shapes that identity, slowly turning effort into something permanent. You become what you repeat. If this message connected with you, take a moment to support the channel. Like this video and subscribe for more content that helps you grow step by step and build a stronger version of yourself every single day.